Oh, baby.
I want to be a cowboy.
Joey got the popcorn ready. Alex got the notes in hand. Tim's got puns that fly like confetti. They're your go-to movie band. Video game movie club. Laughing till the credits roll. Joey Alex, Tim will dub. See the lose control.
Hello, welcome back to what are we calling this now?
Cutscenes.
Cutscene. Is it cutscenes, Alex?
Cutscenes.
We need to update that jingle.
I can't even remember what the jingle says. I was not paying attention. Welcome back
Video
to
game movie
Cutscenes,
club.
or Video Game Movie Club, or what else would you like to call us? Talking Smack. We could be
DVD
called
extras.
That. We could be called DVD Extras, which is nothing to do with video games. Alex, do you want to throw in a name?
No.
Welcome back to the Joe Rogan Show. I am your host today,
Oh,
Joey
no.
Fitzgerald.
Welcome to My Dad Wrote a Porno.
yeah, there you go. And this week, so I'm going to cut that bit out in the edit. Welcome back to Cutscenes, the show where we get together as the Game Club podcast and we watch video game movies. Now, some of them are good, most of them are bad, the rest of them are fucking awful, and that's where this movie fits in. 2005's Doom. Now, boys, have both of you played the game Doom?
A lot, yes.
Alex?
A little bit. I'm not super familiar with the games.
You don't have to. It doesn't have to be Doom 1. It doesn't have to be Doom 2. It doesn't have to be Doom Eternal or The Dark Ages, which is out now, because this movie follows none of their fucking plots, nor lore, but it does have a first-person scene in it, so it must be a Doom game. Gentlemen, Doom 2005, I'm going to get into your thoughts of it. Tim, you're up first.
From what I remember about the marketing of this movie when it first came out, it's loosely based off of the plot, inverted commas, of Doom 3. The original Doom 3. I use plot in inverted commas because the plot of the Doom games is always the same. There are demons on Mars, go shoot them.
Mm-hmm.
That's about the long and short of it. This movie seems to have forgotten that very simple one sentence premise. Because the creatures aren't demons. They seem to be zombies or a parasite or a virus or something. But they ain't demons. The whole thing with the whole plot on Mars is that the company, I forget the name of the company, is essentially opening portals to hell to harvest energy from hell because it's the most potent energy source. And what they seem to have done here is just created a super bug for people to get infected with, and then for the plot to go, oh well, we better get Dwayne the Rock Johnson from Earth in a teleporter to and along with his crew.
You forgot one very, very important thing about that bug that they created. The bug decides whether you're a good or a bad person.
Yeah, it's based on a moral compass, which I guess you could argue the hell aspect comes into, but that is about it. It feels like it was trying to play it closer to something like Alien, but it's absolutely not Alien. What do they call the BFG? So for those who don't know, the BFG is like one of the most iconic weapons in Doom. It stands for Big Fucking Gun.
They call it Big Fucking Gun.
No, they gave it a different name. It was something like, hang on, BFG Doom 2005.
I love these points, Alex, in episodes where
the
Tim
Bioforce gun.
Yeah, I love these bits where we sit here while Tim Googles stuff. It's
doing the research mid-episode.
It's my favorite.
It's like, I get this film was rated 12 or PG or whatever, so they get maybe one swear per movie, but like the thing's called the Big Fucking Gun. That's your swear.
Was this rated PG?
I think it was a 15 on there.
Because I made a note that Dwayne the Rock Johnson swears a lot in this, and I thought that he probably wouldn't because it was that point where WWE or WWF at the time had loads of say, and they were not keen on them dropping F-bombs in movies. But he did here.
This film was rated R in the US. I can't see what it. It was an 18.
Wow. Well, that just cut down the numbers of nobody who wanted to actually see this.
Well, that's it. Yeah, thin out them numbers. One thing I will give this credit for, and this is a big old spoiler for the movie. We should probably preface this with spoilers. I thought that they were just going to play it very safe and have Dwayne the Rock Johnson be the hero. It was a good call actually to have him turn into the villain at the end, whose ultimate goal is to uphold the mission status of securing the Mars facility, regardless of what that took. I thought that was cool.
I agree, but I have something on that later, which might disappoint you, Tim.
Okay. But yeah, movie obviously very fucking bad. Very bad. Aside from, and I know we're all going to talk about this, the first person scene. Not
Which
because
was great.
Well, I say it's not bad. It's bad. It's bad.
No, I
but
actually thought the first person sequence was quite good.
I thought it was interesting, but not well executed.
Alex, thoughts?
I will be
Specifically
honest,
on that scene.
I don't remember the first person scene, and I only watched this movie this morning.
You don't
was-
remember the one good scene in this film.
That's the impact that it's had on me.
Just eyes glazed over about 20 minutes in.
Fair enough, Tim. Any other thoughts from you?
Bad. Just bad.
Just bad. Alex?
So, like I said at the start, I'm not super familiar with the Doom series, but I know that it's go to Mars, kill aliens, come back, or kill demons. Sorry, demon aliens. Why not? When I was watching this movie this morning, the first thing I said, one of the things I sent you was, I didn't realize that this was about zombies. Is Doom about zombies? And Joey said some choice words at me. But regardless of Joey's choice words,
what choice words did I say? I know I'm normally quite abusive to you, but I can't remember.
There was
being
4 or
that
5 that I'm fairly certain weren't real swear words, but I knew the intent. I feel like this movie really, really suffered from the same thing that the Monster Hunter movie suffered from, which was we need to get the US military involved in some fashion. And they decided that was, let's make Dwayne The Rock Johnson the big action hero like we do in every other Dwayne movie.
I want to clear my name here. I actually did not reply to you saying it's a zombie movie.
Arguably, that's worse that you didn't reply to me.
Sorry, Alex.
Yeah, no, but it was... Yeah, it was... We want to make... It was... And we said it again, we said it in the Monster Hunter movie. They wanted to make a video game movie, but they wanted to appeal to a mass market, so they made it about the US military. And as far as I'm aware, and correct me if I'm wrong here, in the games, the US military has fucking nothing to do with it.
Well,
Tim?
the guy who, the Doom guy, as he's called, and he's just called the Doom guy because he's meant to be this faceless generic dude. Because it's you're supposed to immerse yourself in the role. If it was John Military or whatever, you wouldn't be able to identify with John Military as such. But you being able to immerse yourself in this blank canvas of a person whose only objective is to shoot the fuck out of some demons, that's an easy thing to get into. The Doom guy is not a military man. As far as we're aware, at least in the Doom remake, he just basically wakes up on a sacrificial table on Mars. That's about it.
I'd like if his real name was John Military.
I would also appreciate John Military.
Yeah, but that sort of just stands to the point that it was another case of we need to shoehorn the American military into it so that our audiences can feel part of it. And it wasn't a good movie to begin with. They could have done with a Doom movie, they could have done something really, really cool. They could have done some really good action sequences. And that's the other thing. This movie very much looks like an early 2000s movie. It has not aged well in terms of special effects.
Yeah,
I mean,
I agree.
The things getting stuck in the magic door was quite funny to watch, but other than that, it was a bit...
Yeah.
I say I don't remember a whole lot of the plot, which probably, and I watched it less than 24 hours ago, which probably says a lot about it.
Yeah. So highly recommend, right?
Oh yeah, like honestly, go to the cinema and watch it now.
Go and ask your local cinema to rerun 2005's Doom. So,
Do you still have the tapes?
so what I'll say is, I agree wholeheartedly with both of you that this film was absolutely terrible in 99.9% of its execution. It's also terrible in 99.9% of its intent, because its intent was to slap the label Doom and then pretend it's a Doom film when it's absolutely not, which is a really shitty marketing move. Tim raised a really good point in that they could have easily made Dwayne The Rock Johnson be the hero that everyone wanted him to be, and then he could be the guy who shoots up Mars. And guess what, Tim? That's exactly what they tried to do until Dwayne The Rock Johnson himself said, "No, I won't be in this movie unless I can be the bad guy." He
Good.
was originally cast as Carl Urban's character.
Oh yeah, Carl
So-
Urban's in this movie.
Yeah, it took me a very long time to go, oh, that's that guy from The Boys.
Yeah.
But he was meant to be the good guy who unequivocally does good things and would never go to the room full of innocent people and go, let's just kill him because that's what the military says to do. What's even funnier than that is before they approached Dwayne The Rock Johnson, he was their third choice for that role.
Okay, who?
I'd
who
like
are
you
the
to
other two, do we know?
guess the other two.
Oh, it's gonna be
Christopher Walken.
Sean Bean.
Christopher, hey, you alien bastard. Is that who you would want Christopher Walken to play in this movie, Alex?
Yeah, definitely not. Who's quintessentially who gets typecast? Jason Statham.
No, good guess though.
Vin Diesel.
Vin Diesel was their second choice.
Damn, he's good.
He toned it down because of
Chris Pratt.
family. Chris Pratt. It's Me Mario was the voice he used in his audition, but no, number one was Arnold Schwarzenegger.
That makes sense.
Makes sense. Yep.
Does it?
Yeah.
No.
Well, he's a
Get
he's
off
a
my
type.
fucking Mars. No.
He's a typecast action hero, isn't he? And you got to remember, it was filmed 20 years ago.
Yeah,
So he
when
wouldn't have been
was
quite as
still old. Right, so I haven't gone on to my thoughts. The film is bad, right? The film is really bad. The thing that really annoyed me about this movie is it's the second time I've had to watch it. My idea, but still annoyed me. I watched it not long after it came out on DVD. So we're talking probably just under 20 years ago. And I don't remember this movie being as dark as it is. You cannot see a thing in this film unless they're in the lab. And I get that they're trying to go for horror. I get that they're trying to be like, ooh, it's like Alien where it can jump out at you at any point. But there was points where they were in the sewer fighting the thing, and you couldn't see the thing that they were meant to be fighting. It was like one homogenized silhouette splashing about in knee-high shit. And then you're also watching a film. It was very frustrating. The CGI was hilariously bad. There's a thing with this, which for some reason the alien zombie things in quote marks shoot their tongue at you.
Yeah.
And the way they find out the alien zombie things decides if you're a good or a bad person is they get one of the team's brain matter, who they decide is bad, and then the tongue goes bloogie woogie woo when it's already dead. And then they get someone who's good's brain matter, and they shove it in front of the tongue and it doesn't move. And then from that, they decide this thing knows it's got a moral compass. There was one other thing apart from the first person sequence that really made me laugh. That was really good in this film. And it is something that made me laugh. Do you guys remember when they first went up to Mars and they were talking about the method of transport? Now, I cannot remember the actor who played the guy who had the wheels. His torso was intact and he had the wheels attached to him. It was really janky CGI, but he came up and he said, "Oh, you don't like that method of transport? It's come on a long way." And they went, "What do you mean?" And they said, "He didn't always have those wheels. The first time he used the travel, his torso came here and his ass went somewhere else." And it cut to a cutscene of his legs just appearing somewhere else,
Somewhere else.
which really made me laugh. But the film itself was incredibly shallow, incredibly dark, incredibly stupid, didn't follow the source material, and had the first person sequence, which was good. There's my thoughts on it.
Yeah.
Right, so let's get into the plot. We're going into big spoiler territory. And I'm going to go like really high level overview because I don't feel it's worth talking in great depths about this. We start off in the UAC research facility on Mars. Tim, what does UAC stand for?
I know they're the big bad of the Doom series, but I don't know what it stands for. Like United, American, Canada. Done.
yeah, there you go. So United American Canada, which is closer than we ever imagined. A research facility on Mars, and it starts off with a woman chasing after a man who shuts the door on her and it chops her arm off. He sends a distress signal. Tim?
This was in the era of when every film's needed a 3D version, right?
I don't think it was. I don't think Doom was released in 3D.
Because I can remember looking at that shot where the arm kind of flies towards the camera and thinking that's one for the 3D glasses wearers.
I think the problem with your theory is that would be the only place where it would be applicable. Whereas in the 3D era, they wanted someone reaching out and tickling the viewer at every possible instance.
I'm just checking.
Can you just check whether it came out in 3D? Alex?
It's the Union Aerospace Corporation, which might be worse than what Tim said.
Okay, so United
just
American
Googled it.
Canada is what we're going with.
The Union Aerospace Corporation, which is famously on the ground and going underground.
Yeah, but it's on Mars,
Aerospace,
Tim.
Aerospace, yeah, like planes and stuff. Aerospace.
Oh yeah. Oh, you're saying they are on the ground and going under the ground.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, but that is in Doom, so take it up with Doom.
I'll take it up with John Doom. By the way, didn't come out in 3D.
No, didn't think it did. So a distress signal is sent, and a squad of Marines, including Sarge, played by Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, and Reaper, played by Carl Urban, is sent to investigate. There's a really funny scene where they're all waiting to go on leave, and they're like, "How can we shoehorn in all of these people's characteristics?" And they say, "What are you going to do on leave?" And there's a guy who's like, "Oh, I'm gonna find some women and fuck them." And then there's another guy,
shag.
and there's another guy who's reading a Bible while slicing crucifixes into his arm, which was very strange.
But have you guys seen the film Edge of Tomorrow with Tom Cruise?
No.
Yep.
So, Alex, you'll know the scene that I'm talking about then when they go and meet the crew of like the army platoon that Tom Cruise is in. And they do what this scene is trying to do, in that they very quickly exposition dump what the platoon's entire characteristics are. But that film does it really, really well. This film, it's just like, here's the crazy religious one. Here's the ladies' man. We're not giving them names because they're not particularly important.
Hey, these two are playing baseball with oranges and really pissing off the religious nut. Ooh.
But yeah, it did it badly. But we did get to meet a couple of the crew. I didn't learn any of their names because I knew how expendable they were.
Oh, yeah.
The team, in one of the most elongated sequences you've ever seen, come to learn that the facility is overrun by mutated creatures. All of this is going on while Carl Urban, or Reaper, and his estranged sister are having a very awkward conversation because they don't get on. She's at the facility and he goes there. Sarge asks Reaper to look after her. Her job is to extract the data from the facility. They've been overrun by they don't know what yet. And it's Reaper's job to make sure she stays safe. I really thought that this would have made more sense as a ex relationship rather than sibling, they were a bit incesty throughout.
There was a bit of tension, if we're being real.
If we're being honest.
Well, I think
Um,
it was the whole, our parents died, and what did you do? You left me to fend for myself, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, yeah, grow up, you're an adult.
What if they did both? They were in a relationship and siblings.
Now, that would add an element to this episode of cutscenes that I wasn't prepared for.
And this adds the moral element to the demons. Oh, it all makes sense. Yep.
Are you saying that it's
This would
Carl
almost
Urban's
make it
fault
like there was any
because-
thought put into it.
Are you saying that Reaper's fault because he was shagging his sister and this is
Yeah.
what happened?
He's keeping it in the family.
Keeping it. That's right, yeah. Keep wealth and genes in the family. So, not something I thought I'd ever say in any kind of public forum or otherwise, for that matter.
Especially in a podcast with your brother.
You know, the game's the game. And then it's revealed to them that the facility is overrun with mutated creatures. And then it's revealed that the mutations are caused by the 24th chromosome, which enhances or corrupts humans based on their moral nature. So one of the Marines, the bloke who normally every time he says, "Oh, for God's sake," has to slice his own arm with a combat knife because he took God's name in vain, wakes up, says something about God, and then smashes his face into a glass window until he dies.
Are we surprised that the guy who is actively draining blood from himself didn't last very long in a shooting environment?
No, I'm not.
No.
But I think he was only in there so that they can go, "Oh, demons. He's religious. It must be demons. He's got the devil in him." That really is the only reason that character was there, I think.
Yeah.
So Sarge goes off to clear the facility, but grows more violent, choosing to kill people without any potential threat, without hesitation. Reaper is injured and injected with the chromosome. He gains powers but stays human. Do you guys remember that happening? I don't remember it happening the first time.
No.
No.
He stays human, so Reaper's a good guy. The Sarge gets bitten by a monster, and he eventually turns bad, but that's a little bit later. The first person sequence follows Reaper fighting off creatures, and it was about a minute long, and I found out it took them 2.5 weeks to shoot.
DL.
So yeah. Sarge mutates and battles Reaper in a final confrontation, and Reaper defeats Sarge and escapes the facility with his sister, carrying her very much once again like his lover. And that is Doom. Now, unless I said about the guy who slices his arms up every time he uses the Lord's name in vain, would you have known there was a devilish element in this?
I forgot that the other crew members existed, to be honest.
Even
Because
the
they're
one
so-
who was walking through the facility at the start when the threat wasn't there, going, "Hey, ladies, this is a top security emergency. I gotta do a strip search on you." And when they went, "Fuck off, you pervert," he turned around and literally said the same words to someone else.
Yeah.
He was my favorite and also the worst character I've ever seen on any film ever.
Hey, ladies, you know what's an emergency? The amount of jizz in my balls.
Speaking on the teammates that we all forgot existed, the one guy that got left at the desk with Wheels McGee.
Wheels McGee, yeah.
Lightning McQueen, yeah.
He got
You're
left
on
there, and
fire
then
tonight, Tim.
so he got left there to secure the perimeter or whatever it might be. I genuinely think they forgot about that character because he didn't appear until about 15 minutes towards the end, where I was like, "Oh my god, everything's going really bad in there. I better go and help."
Mm.
And then he died immediately.
Can I ask? There was a crew member called Duke, and Doom and Duke Nukem famously had a bit of a rivalry.
Yeah.
And it turned out Duke was as much as a pervert as all of the others. Do you think this was intentional when they cut his head off and had it roll across the floor towards them?
Almost definitely.
Probably.
Really?
Actually, no, because that would be giving them too much credit.
Hmm. There was also a bit where one of them was called the Kid. I think he just wanted to get innocent people out and got shot in the face. In comparison to the other members of the military core team, he really had quite a dull death. Like
Well,
a
he got
really
killed
dull
by his
death.
captain, didn't he?
He did. I did
Because
like
Dwayne the
how
Rock
they...
Johnson was like, "Oh, there's no insubordination on my team." Bang.
Oh yeah, and then he went. Carl Urban shouted at him, "It was his first mission." Like that makes any difference?
Yeah.
Well, you can be very cheeky on your first mission and do whatever you want, boys. But I did like how they gave you all of their names without going, "Hey, Dwayne the Rock Johnson, come over here." Okay, I'm coming, Carl Urban. They did it so that they picked up their guns and it registered their fingerprints, and it went gun registered too, and then it said their name out loud, and I thought that was quite a neat way of giving you all of their names, but then ultimately immediately forgettable. So I got a couple of questions for you guys.
Yeah.
I'm gonna discount the first Perkinson sequence for two reasons. One, it would be way too easy an answer, and two, Alex didn't even know it happened. What was your favorite scene in this film?
Favorite scene.
I
It
can
should
answer
not be
this.
this hard, Tim.
I can
And
answer
yet-
this. I don't think I had one.
None at all.
A genuine. Well, like you say, most of it was pitch black for one thing.
Yeah.
The fight, was it Duke or the one who carried the minigun?
Yeah.
He had a fight in that cell with the big scaly lizard boy, and I thought that was interesting to watch. It was fun watching them get repeatedly electrocuted and thrown against walls.
Do you know
Other than
what my
that,
favourite part about that scene was? Was you describing it and Tim slowly realising that happened in this film.
I've just been looking up whether John Romero, the creator of Doom, had any involvement with this, and he actually left his software production company the same year this movie came out. Granted, I think he was working for Midway Games at the time, or at least he joined Midway or something like that. I don't know. Favorite
Probably
scene
midway
though was
through watching this film.
yeah. Favorite scene
Got
though
him.
was probably the scene where the demon got caught halfway through the magic door. And I say I'm using the word magic door very loosely because what it is a very inconsistent magic door.
It was made of nanomites, which was early 2000s slang for little robots that can do literally anything we want and don't have
Tiny
to fit
magic
within
robots.
reality.
It's the Deus Ex Machina of
Yes.
of this movie. It's just
Yeah.
little tiny robots. Think midichlorians from Star Wars. No.
Don't know what that is. Sorry, Tim.
Oh well, in the first few Star Wars films, they were just like he has the Force, and there's a bunch of different people who are very powerful with the Force, and then in the prequels they were like it's midichlorians, they're in your body, and it's like oh okay.
I like that every time someone says something a bit stupid. No, not stupid. Every time someone says something that contradicts what you originally thought, we always do a Chicago accent.
I was kind of going for Boston.
Well, yeah, but with us, it's the same
Also.
thing.
Yeah. But yeah, the reason I bring up that it's an inconsistent magic door is because sometimes physical things can be let through it and sometimes they can't. And I understand that's how a door works, but like it's not
Is this
like
podcast just becoming us trying to work out doors thanks to toast?
it's
That's robotic battle toaster for anyone who didn't listen to our Christmas D&D. Not
yeah.
just slices of toast.
But like they have these nano machines come through the door, and I'm not going to claim to be an expert on nanomachine door technology.
No, claim it, Tim. Claim it.
Well, yeah.
Okay, as the leading expert on nanomachine door technology, I'm not entirely sure as to why it would just cut off halfway through the demon. I feel like it's one of these things that's going to need like essentially a start point and an end point for the machines to start from. I'm kind of thinking of this as a grid more than
Magnets.
anything. Yeah, magnets and aliens. It's a very visual joke for the audience. But I just the door and the fact that the scientist is like, I must understand everything about this zombie, but not a zombie, and then give us no information on it.
I like two things. I liked the joke about his ass went somewhere else. I thought I genuinely laughed out loud when I watched that. I just thought it was good. The other one I liked was when they found the scientist who sent the distress call, and his immediate response to seeing Dwayne the Rock Johnson was ripping his ears off. It was quite a visceral reaction. So we touched on it before. If Christopher Walken was in this movie, who would you want him to play?
I want to play every demon.
Cool, yeah, like a Skyrim mod.
Yeah.
Okay, Alex.
Every
shoved
demon
this-
is every demon is fun. That's a fun one.
They're
He'd
just
have
like,
to
I
be-
shoved this demon up my ass.
get him to play the sister scientist love interest.
That was my
Aw.
one, Samantha Reaper's sister.
That's beautiful.
Yeah, it's beautiful. And there's
Carl
eight
Urban
demons
and
being shoved
Christopher
up their
Walken
ass.
tongue in.
I'm not sure if this is libelous. I don't know whether that's a section we can keep in, but you know, it's going to happen anyway because who's going to listen?
They're mutated.
They are mutated.
My feelings
they
have
have-
mutated.
And just
Oh.
like this parasite.
You won't be surprised to know that Doom, as a film on Rotten Tomatoes, got a reviewer rating of 18%.
That's higher than I thought.
Well, do you know what's higher than 18%?
Go on.
The 34% that it's been given by the audience. 1 out of 3 people that watched this film thought it was worth watching.
Are they okay? Are 1 in 3 people okay?
One audience said the reviews on here are criminal. This movie is awesome. Someone said that it's not that bad. Someone said this movie made me hate movies.
Well, hang on. There's 3 of us here. Let's run a little thought experiment. There's 3 of us
No.
here. What do we think?
Shit.
Bad.
Shit. Yep. All right.
Shit.
Cool. It can't be
Can-
1 in 3. Done.
I want to point out as well that I've got the highest grossing films for 2005 here, because I wanted to get an idea of the time we were looking at in terms of. I was looking for special effects really and how good they were at the time. So the movies we've got are Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire,
Okay.
Star
That
Wars
came out
Episode
this
3.
year.
Yeah, Star Wars Episode 3 Revenge of the Sith, The Chronicles
Okay.
of Narnia, War of the Worlds, King Kong. We'll skip a couple of these because they're Charlie and the Chocolate Factory and Batman Begins.
Those are some like solid movies, and this feels like it
Especially-
came out about 8 years before any of them.
Yeah, they're solid movies both in terms of being movies and the visual effects in them, compared to whatever this sludge was.
The problem I have with the reviews of this movie is quite a lot of the audience movies reviews are talking about comparing it to Resident Evil movies. Now, some of the Resident Evil movies are terrible, and spoiler alert for you boys, I am sure we'll find out how terrible some of them are. But none of them are nearly as bad as this.
Did we not
Nowhere
already watch one on
near.
here?
No, we watched Silent Hill.
Oh yeah, it's the same thing. It's zombies and
No,
Anyway.
Silent Hill is not zombies, Alex. Did you watch
Close
the
enough.
fucking film? This is a really long review, but I'm gonna tell you Greg H's review from 2023, so only 2 years ago, boys. Greg H says, "This is literally one of my favorite movies of all time. The acting and actor choice is solid. The monsters look scary and real. Nothing looks CGI. And when they shoot their weapons, it looks real. Super badass movie that no one seems to like or take seriously. This film is based on... Hold on. This film is based on partial truth.
What?
Man originated on Mars and was super high tech and smart. After tampering with genetics and experimenting with chromosomes to make humans into lesser gods, some became monsters and some became gods. And then the whole review is him rambling about this shit.
We can I think we can comfortably agree on this. This conspiracy theorist watched a movie and went, "See, I told you, it's the truth."
Can you send me
Yeah.
that
Wayne
review, by the way?
knows.
I'm definitely going to want to share that around. But I've just been reminded of a line here where it's one of the first deaths of the movie where the alien, I'm saying alien tongue, the creature tongues go boogie woogie woo and kill the bad people. The doctor, Samantha, says his condition is irreversible, and it's mostly because his condition is that he's fucking dead. He's got a hole in his fucking brain. Like, what do you want? He's not going to do CPR on him.
Yeah, that bit where they kept trying to resurrect the guy who was like dead for 5 minutes was really quite weird. Like defibrillators don't work that way.
No.
Quick, he's got a hole in his head. Electrocute him.
Yeah, it was so bad that I almost regret telling you guys to watch it. Not completely, because I've enjoyed the conversation, but bad. Any closing thoughts, gentlemen?
I mean, I feel like this is the kind of film that you'd get together with a few friends after a few drinks and just rip the shit out of in an evening. It's probably good for that.
Mm-hmm.
But that's about it. That's as far as I would take this movie.
Alex?
Yeah, it's exactly that. It's something to watch to do a podcast on.
Yeah. It's a bizarre case study.
So
Joey?
I'm just looking at something. Tim, you said that's the furthest that you would take this movie, right?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm just working out. The furthest I would take this movie is exactly 1.8 miles, because that is the distance between my house and the local tip. So take it out what you will. Please, for the love of God, don't watch Doom. Or do. Let us know your thoughts.
I have looked up how much this film made. Do you want to take any guesses? I'm going to give you the budget, and I'm going to ask you guys how much it made on opening weekend and then how much it grossed worldwide.
Okay.
So, budget was $60 to $70 million, kind of ballpark that figure.
I think
So 60, 70 million in 2005, mind.
$15 million opening weekend.
Okay.
And that's purely because of the name Doom is my guess there.
Cool.
And I reckon that the first person shooter sequence was probably the whole trailer.
And how much worldwide do you think it made?
40 million.
40 million. Okay, Alex?
Yeah, opening weekend 10, gross worldwide 35.
Joey wins by absolutely nailing the opening weekend. It did 15 million.
Oh yeah,
across 3,000 theaters in its opening weekend, and it grossed $58.7 million. So at minimum, this film lost 1.3 million, which isn't. It's less than we thought.
That doesn't. When they say to make, that doesn't include like marketing.
No, and distribution, licensing,
which is like double
mm-hmm.
what they need. So yeah, film bad, reflected badly at the cinema. Good.
Good.
There you go.
That's Doom.
That's Doom. Alex, do I play the outro for this as a part of the episode? I can't remember.
I don't remember, but do it anyway.
Fuck it,
Well,
let's do
we
it.
don't want to talk about what we're doing next time.
Oh yeah, what film are we watching next time?
Oh yeah,
Alex.
Next time, I've had to argue with Joey on this for months and months, and he's finally given in. We're going to watch Ready Player One.
That's for our next cutscenes in 1 month's time. But we do have a episode which we are calling our game club, not mainline, because mainline is only a quarter of what we do now, or less.
Yeah. Less.
Tim,
Hi.
Alex, sorry, that's yours, not Tim.
Yeah, that's also mine. We're going to be playing Devil May Cry 5.
Because
So join us in a week for that.
I can't wait for the Devil May Cry movie where they turn all the demons into parasite monsters.
Right, that was cutscenes. Thank you for stopping by, and we'll see you next time.
Bye.
Cheerio.
Joey got the popcorn ready. Alex got the notes in hand. Tim's got puns that fly like confetti. They're your go-to movie band.